I've always believed that love isn't something that begins and ends within a single lifetime. It's something much bigger, something that exists beyond the limits of what we can see or measure. We talk about energy, about how it never disappears, it just changes form, transforms, moves forward. I think love is the same way. It's the purest form of energy there is. It doesn't fade when a body does. It doesn't vanish with time. It lingers. It travels. It remembers. When I think about my future wife, whoever and wherever she is, I don't just think about meeting her in this life. I imagine that maybe in another timeline we've already met. Maybe we've laughed together under a different sky, lived a different story, but somehow carried a piece of that memory forward, quietly guiding us toward each other again. That's the kind of connection that doesn't obey physics, it defies it. It's like gravity for the soul. You can't see it, but you can feel it pulling you towards something real. There's this idea that everything in the universe is connected. Every star, every atom, every person. When you look at it from that perspective, the notion of soulmates doesn't sound like fantasy. It sounds like a continuation of the same law that keeps galaxies in orbit. If two energies are meant to align, they will, no matter how far apart they begin. That's not just romance, that's universal design. I think sometimes we underestimate how extraordinary human connection really is. Out of billions of people, out of all the probabilities and choices that shape our lives, to find one person whose soul vibrates in tune with yours, it's statistically miraculous. But maybe miracles aren't accidents. Maybe they're reminders that the universe loves symmetry, that it loves when two forces meet and create something greater than themselves. That's what love is to me, a cosmic collaboration. And in that collaboration, there's purpose. There's a sense that no matter how many lifetimes we live, no matter how many different versions of ourselves we become, there's always a familiar frequency we're drawn back to. You might call it destiny, or energy, or even fate, but to me, it simply loves persistence. It refuses to give up. It refuses to forget. It's patient enough to wait 1,000 years and brave enough to start over 1,000 times more. I imagine her somewhere, living her own story right now, maybe not knowing that in some invisible way we're already connected. Maybe every choice we're making, every lesson, every challenge, every success is subtly leading us closer to the moment when we finally cross paths. I find that beautiful. The idea that every single thing we do could be part of a bigger equation that leads to love. It gives meaning to the chaos. It gives direction to uncertainty. And when we do meet, it won't just feel like the start of something new. It'll feel like remembering something ancient. A sense of recognition like, there you are. I've known you before. That's what makes it sacred. Not that it's new, but that it's timeless. Every heartbeat, every shared silence, every dream we'll build together will be an echo of something that's existed across lifetimes. Because love, when it's real, doesn't ask for proof. It doesn't need a reason, it just knows. It's the quiet certainty that no matter how vast time becomes, or how many stars go dark, the bond between two souls can't be erased, it adapts, it evolves, it continues. And so, to my future wife, wherever you are, in this lifetime or another, I want you to know that I believe in that bond. I believe in the kind of love that travels through centuries just to find its way home. I believe in the unbreakable thread that ties two souls together, even when the universe tries to scatter them apart. Because love doesn't end with time, it begins with eternity. And if it takes 1,000 lifetimes to find you again, I'll keep searching. Because forever is just the start of my promise. The journey of finding someone, really finding them, isn't just about luck or timing. It's about evolution. It's about becoming the kind of person who's ready for the kind of love that doesn't just fit into your life, but transforms it. People often think love appears suddenly, like a lightning bolt, but the truth is, it's a process. It's a long, winding path of searching, waiting, learning, and becoming. And sometimes the waiting feels endless. But the waiting has purpose. It's not wasted time, it's preparation. There were moments when I used to think that maybe love was something you stumbled upon by accident, like a rare discovery. But now I see it differently. It's not random, it's deliberate. Every experience you go through, every person you meet, even the ones who break your heart, are part of a calibration process. The universe is tuning you, shaping you, teaching you what kind of love you're capable of giving and what kind of love you truly need. Without those experiences, you wouldn't recognize the real thing when it arrives. I think of it like engineering in a way. You test, you fail, you iterate. Each time, you get a little closer to something that actually works, something that lasts. Love is no different. We try, we fall, we rebuild, and we learn. And through that, we become a version of ourselves that's more honest, more capable of connection, more ready to build something meaningful. The search isn't just for another person. It's for the best version of ourselves, the one worthy of the love we're destined to find. There's a strange beauty in that space between longing and fulfillment. That quiet, uncertain middle ground where you're not sure when it will happen, or even if it will happen. It's in that uncertainty that we grow the most. We develop patience, empathy, and strength. We learn to appreciate solitude, not as loneliness, but as a necessary part of preparation. Because when you can be whole by yourself, you'll never look for someone to complete you. You'll look for someone to complement you. That's a big difference. Sometimes people rush love. They fear missing it, or they settle for the idea of it rather than the reality of it. But real love doesn't arrive through impatience. It arrives through alignment. It shows up when you've done the inner work, when you've learned how to give without losing yourself and receive without fear. Waiting is hard, yes, but it's also sacred. It's where faith lives. Because love isn't about possession. It's about timing, trust, and readiness. There are nights when you might look at the stars and wonder where she is, your person, your other half. Maybe she's out there right now asking the same question. Maybe she's going through her own lessons, facing her own storms, learning how to become the person you'll one day meet. And isn't that an incredible thought? That both of you are being shaped by time, experience, and distance, so that when you finally meet, you'll recognize each other not because of how you look, but because of how you've both grown. The journey of searching and waiting isn't about chasing love. It's about trusting it. It's about understanding that everything has its moment, and when it's your moment, you won't have to force it. It will flow. It will feel right. You'll look back at all the waiting, all the wondering, and realize it wasn't empty time. It was sacred preparation. Every failure, every heartbreak, every silent night was leading you closer to her. And so, I've learned to honor the waiting. I've learned to respect the journey. Because love that's rushed rarely lasts, but love that's earned through patience and growth, it becomes unbreakable. It's not just found, it's built layer by layer with intention and faith. So wherever you are, my future wife, know this: I'm not just waiting for you. I'm becoming for you. I'm learning, failing, growing and evolving so that when I finally find you, I'll be ready, not just to love you, but to understand you, to build with you, to protect what we create together. Because when the right person arrives, every second of waiting will make sense, and every moment before you will have been worth the wait. Sometimes I wonder how we recognize the people who are meant for us, not just on a surface level, not just the way someone looks or speaks, but something deeper, almost instinctive. It's like the soul already knows. There's this quiet familiarity, a feeling that transcends logic or memory. You can't explain it, but you feel it instantly, as if the universe has just whispered, there she is. That's what I imagine it will be like when I find her, my future wife. Not a dramatic movie moment or a perfect setting, but something much simpler, more profound. Maybe it happens in a crowded room, maybe in a quiet moment. But the instant our paths cross, I'll know. Not because I've analyzed it or rationalized it, but because recognition doesn't need evidence. It's built into the fabric of our existence. It's like two frequencies finally syncing after lifetimes of searching for the same signal. Science tells us that everything in the universe is made of the same basic elements, that energy can't be destroyed, only transformed. So what if love, real love, is simply energy that keeps transforming, reappearing, reshaping, finding its way back to where it belongs? Maybe that's why some connections feel timeless, why certain people seem like they've existed in your story long before you even met them. It's not imagination, it's memory at the soul level. You've probably met people who make you feel comfortable right away, as if you've known them forever. You can't pinpoint why, but your spirit relaxes around them. That's not coincidence, that's recognition. That's something ancient within you remembering something it once loved. And that's how I'll recognize her, not through perfection, but through resonance, through the sense that my energy, my path, my purpose, all align when she's near. There's a kind of quiet magic in that idea. It suggests that every lifetime, every existence carries forward fragments of who we were and what we loved most. Maybe we don't remember the details, names, faces, moments, but the emotional fingerprint remains. It's encoded somewhere beyond time and space, and when the right vibration hits, it awakens again. That's what love is, the awakening of something that's never truly slept. I imagine walking past her one day and feeling that pull, that gravity of recognition that doesn't ask for permission or explanation. Maybe she'll smile, and for a second, it'll feel like the universe just clicked into place, like everything before that moment was simply leading up to it. And even if we've lived 100 lives before, in that instant, every one of them will make sense. It's strange how people talk about love as though it's something we have to chase or win. I think real love is something we remember. It's like finding a piece of a puzzle you didn't know was missing, and suddenly the whole picture becomes clear. You realize that this person, this soul, has always been there, traveling parallel to you through time, through experiences, through entire existences, waiting for the right moment to intersect again. And that's what makes it powerful. Because when you recognize someone beyond time and space, it's not a fleeting connection, it's an eternal one. It's the kind of bond that doesn't fade when the world changes. It adapts, it transcends form. You might be born in a different era, a different body, even a different world, but the soul remembers. It finds its way back to what feels like home. There's comfort in that certainty, knowing that no matter how vast the universe becomes, how many galaxies stretch out into infinity, love will always be the most reliable constant, not bound by distance, not weakened by time, just quietly orbiting, waiting for alignment. So to my future wife, wherever you are in this universe, in this timeline or another, I may not know your face yet, but I know your energy. I'll recognize your laughter before I hear your name. I'll know your soul before I know your story, because recognition doesn't happen through eyes, it happens through essence. And when our paths finally cross, I won't wonder if it's you. I'll simply remember that it always was. When I think about love, I don't think of it as something fragile or fleeting. I think of it as a commitment, a kind of gravity that pulls two souls together and holds them there, even when everything else in the universe is shifting. Love, at its truest form, is not convenience. It's not about perfect moments or flawless days. It's about unwavering devotion, the kind that remains steady when the world feels uncertain, the kind that doesn't dissolve in difficulty, but deepens because of it. When I say I promise to find my future wife in every lifetime, what I really mean is that I'm choosing devotion as a constant, across time, across challenges, across all the versions of myself that will ever exist. Because love, real love, isn't just about finding someone, it's about choosing them over and over again, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. We live in a world where everything moves fast, where attention is currency, and commitment often feels outdated. But I believe the future doesn't belong to speed, it belongs to depth. In love, devotion is the ultimate technology. It's what keeps two people since through the chaos. You can build rockets or design AI, but the hardest, most meaningful engineering project in life will always be building something that lasts between two people. Unwavering devotion doesn't mean blind loyalty. It means conscious loyalty. It means standing beside someone, not because you have to, but because you choose to, fully aware of their flaws, their complexities, and your own. It means being honest, patient, and resilient enough to grow together rather than apart. It's the promise to stay not only when things are easy, but when things are uncertain, uncomfortable, or even painful. Because that's when love proves itself. I imagine devotion as this invisible thread that connects two souls, stretching but never breaking, bending but never snapping. It adapts to distance, time, and change. You might drift apart physically, you might face seasons of silence, but that thread remains. It's there in the moments when you could walk away, but don't, when you could give up but decide to keep trying. That's what separates momentary affection from eternal love. Devotion is what carries you through lifetimes. And devotion isn't measured in grand gestures, it's measured in constancy. It's in the small, quiet actions repeated day after day, listening when it's easier to talk, holding space when it's easier to fill it, showing up when no one's watching. It's not glamorous, but it's sacred, because that's where trust is built, where intimacy grows, where love becomes something unshakable. Sometimes people think devotion means losing yourself in someone else, but I see it differently. True devotion requires strength of individuality. It's two whole people choosing to intertwine their lives without erasing who they are. It's love that doesn't consume, it expands. It amplifies purpose, accelerates growth, and fuels courage. The best kind of devotion doesn't hold you back, it launches you forward. I know there will be times when things get difficult, because all great things demand perseverance. There will be disagreements, distance, doubt. But that's when devotion does its finest work. It's not tested in moments of peace. It's forged in storms. It's the calm voice that says, "We'll get through this," and the steady hand that refuses to let go when the wind gets strong. So to my future wife, know this, my promise isn't for perfection. It's for presence. It's for partnership in every sense of the word. I'll celebrate your victories as if they were my own, and I'll stand with you in failure with the same conviction. My devotion won't depend on circumstance or convenience. It will exist because I choose it to, freely, fully, and forever. Love doesn't survive because it's easy. It survives because two people decide every single day that it's worth it. That's what unwavering devotion means to me. And if it takes 1,000 storms to prove it, then I'll face every one, because my love for you will never be a moment. It will always be a vow. When I think about love, I don't just want it to be beautiful in this lifetime. I want it to be meaningful enough to echo into the next. A love so profound that if I were to be reborn 100 times, I'd still be searching for the same soul. That kind of love doesn't just happen. It's built, brick by brick, moment by moment, with patience, trust, and the courage to stay. It's not something you stumble upon. It's something you create intentionally through the way you treat each other, the way you grow together, and the way you make every ordinary day feel extraordinary. We talk a lot about building things that last: cars, rockets, civilizations. But what's truly remarkable is building a connection that endures beyond time itself. A love that becomes legacy. Think about it. If souls really do carry memories from one lifetime to another, then every act of love, every kind word, every sacrifice leaves an imprint. It's not wasted. It travels forward. It becomes part of the blueprint of who we are meant to be. That's why I believe the goal isn't just to find love, it's to build one worth coming back to. A love so strong that even if time resets, even if everything changes, the memory of it still vibrates somewhere deep in the soul. The kind of love that makes eternity feel too short. But to create something like that, you can't rely on romance alone. You have to build with intention. You have to choose to show up every single day, not just when it's exciting or convenient, but especially when it's difficult. The love that's worth reincarnation isn't effortless. It's engineered with care. It's the product of two people who understand that lasting love is about evolution. It's about learning, adapting, forgiving, and never losing sight of the shared vision. In a world that celebrates instant gratification, real love is almost revolutionary. It takes patience to build something real, something sustainable. It takes effort to keep curiosity alive, to listen deeply, to make space for growth without fear. And it takes maturity to understand that love isn't about ownership. It's about partnership. It's not about being perfect. It's about being honest enough to admit when you're wrong and humble enough to start again. When two people commit to building that kind of love, they create something that transcends time. Their energy changes the people around them, influences their children, their communities, maybe even generations they'll never meet. because love that's authentic and selfless becomes a kind of frequency that never dies. It simply transfers forward like light. And when I imagine my future wife and me, I don't picture perfection. I picture a journey of discovery, laughter, and resilience. I picture building something that both of us can look at one day and say, we created this together. That, to me, is far more romantic than any fairy tale, because when you build a love with your own hands and your own heart, it carries a piece of you into eternity. Maybe that's what reincarnation really is, the universe giving us another chance to find what we couldn't finish, to relive what we loved most, to continue what was too beautiful to end. And if that's true, then I want to make sure that what we build in this lifetime is so extraordinary, it's worth finding again. I want our love to be so rooted in truth, respect, and kindness that it leaves a permanent mark on the timeline of existence. I want to build a love that inspires others to believe again. A love that proves it's still possible to create something unbreakable in a world that constantly changes. A love that doesn't just survive lifetimes, but deserves them. Because when it's all said and done, the question isn't whether we'll meet again. It's whether what we built together is worth returning to. And I want that answer to be yes, every time. Because the greatest achievement of any lifetime isn't discovering love. It's building a love so real that even eternity remembers it, even though I believe in forever, in the idea that love stretches across lifetimes. What gives that belief meaning is this moment, this lifetime, right here and now. Because as much as I like to imagine the infinite, I know that eternity begins with the present. And somewhere in this vast, spinning world, you, my future wife, exist right now, breathing the same air, watching the same sunsets, living your own story. Maybe we haven't met yet, or maybe we've already crossed paths and didn't recognize the significance of it. But I have hope that soon our timelines will align. Hope is a powerful thing. It's what keeps us reaching beyond logic, beyond fear, beyond the limitations we place on ourselves. Hope makes the waiting bearable, the searching meaningful, and the uncertainty beautiful. Because when you live with hope, you live with direction. You move with intention towards something unseen but deeply felt. And for me, that something is you. I imagine that right now, you're becoming who you're meant to be, just like I am. You're learning lessons that will prepare you for the love we'll share. Maybe life has challenged you. Maybe you've been hurt. Maybe you've had to rebuild yourself more than once. But all of that is part of the design. Every experience, every success, every heartbreak, it's all shaping you into the woman I'll recognize not with my eyes, but with my soul. And I know that I'm being shaped too, through everything I've faced, everything I've lost, and everything I've dared to dream again. There's something humbling about realizing that the person you're destined to love is already out there, living their own life. It's like we're both traveling through separate universes that are slowly curving toward a single point of connection. And when that moment comes, it won't feel accidental. It'll feel like destiny, because it will be. But here's the thing about hope: it's not passive. It's not about waiting for life to hand you what you want. It's about preparing for what you believe in. It's about doing the work, internally, emotionally, spiritually, so that when love arrives, you're ready to meet it with clarity and courage. Because love, when it's real, deserves your best self, not your leftover strength. I know there will be moments when doubt creeps in, when the world feels too vast, when the timing feels wrong, when patience feels impossible. But that's when hope does its most important work. It doesn't erase uncertainty, it transforms it. It takes fear and turns it into faith. It reminds you that even if you can't see the path, it's still leading you somewhere meant for you. Hope is what keeps me grounded in this lifetime, because as much as I dream about finding you across other worlds, I want this world, the one we're living in now, to be the one where it happens. I want this lifetime to be the one where our eyes finally meet, where we build something real, something lasting. I want this lifetime to be the one we remember in the next, not as a dream, but as the beginning of something eternal. There's something incredibly beautiful about believing that love will find you not by chance but by alignment. It gives every sunrise a purpose, every quiet night a whisper of possibility. It makes life feel less like a random sequence of events and more like a carefully composed melody, one that will one day play the harmony of two hearts finally in tune. So to my future wife, wherever you are in this vast, miraculous world, know that I'm not just waiting for you. I'm preparing for you. I'm building a life that will be worthy of the love we'll share. I'm filling it with purpose, passion, and truth so that when you step into it, it feels like home. Because hope is more than belief. It's action guided by faith. And in this lifetime, I'm living every day with the hope that when we finally find each other, it won't feel like the start of something new. It'll feel like the continuation of something infinite. Because even though I'll search for you in every lifetime, this is the one I want to find you in.